Hello everyone! Today I want to talk about a subject that is fairly different for my channel, but I felt like it was a good subject to bring up because I'm going to be talking about boobs. Specifically, I want to talk about checking your boobs monthly and being on top of how they feel, and being familiar with how they feel is really, really important because detecting breast cancer early on is really, really important. And I don't really want to talk about breast cancer today, but I do want to bring that up because I did a self-check after I watched Fleur de Force's video on doing a boob check, and she was wearing like this boob hat. It was great, but I watched it and it made me think, oh, I forgot to do that. And so I checked. Lo and behold, I found a bump in my right breast. And although I wasn't really scared, I decided to get it checked out because it is a lump. It's something that is not normally there. And I don't know how long it was there for before I noticed it because I hadn't been doing my monthly breast checks. And so when I noticed it, I made an appointment with my doctor to check it out. She said, yes, there is something there. So I got an ultrasound to see what it was, and they found I believe it's 1.5 centimeters by like 2 centimeters or like a half centimeter. It's a little oval shaped mass in my breast. And so after that, they were like, yes, there's something there. Do you want to get a biopsy? And I opted for a biopsy just because my grandmother on my mother's side had breast cancer and she survived. But because it runs in my mother's side of the family especially, I wanted to get it checked out and make sure to rule it out as not cancerous. So I went in to get a biopsy, and this is the one thing I want to talk about because when I was going to go in for a biopsy, I really wanted someone to be able to talk me through like what was going to happen, what it was going to feel like, what I was going to experience. So this video I wanted to make about my breast biopsy experience. Overall, my experience, even though it was unpleasant, it's kind of like a mammogram where it's unpleasant, but you know that it's worth doing because having that peace of mind to know that it's not cancer, to know that there's nothing wrong with your boobs is a really, really comforting feeling. So my biopsy experience started with them booking a biopsy appointment for me. I went to a doctor where it was a breast health center where they focus on breast cancer and mammograms and stuff like that. And I went in, did the paperwork. They just ask you a couple questions, normal medical questions, and then they have you sit in a sitting room. And in my hospital experience, which your experience may be different than mine, but I'm just telling you mine so that, of course they're going to be somewhat similar, but mine had 2 sitting rooms, one where you could be with your husband if you wanted to, and one where it was just women only. And I opted to stay with my husband because he came with me to be as like my support. And when they came to get me, I asked if I could bring my husband back. They said no. I don't know if this will be the same experience for you. It may be that they allow your partner to go in with you, but for me they did not because they said the room was too small. So my husband stayed behind. I went in. They had me undressed from the waist up, so bra, shirt off, and then they give you a little cape to wear or a front closing little, what do you call it, hospital gown. And then once you're done with that, they take you back to a room where they took an ultrasound of my right breast to make sure that the nodule was still there, and it was. And then they had the doctor come in and they used the numbing stuff that they use when they do like cavity fills at the dentist. And if you have a bad reaction to that, they ask you, and so I'm sure that they have another option of numbing medicine, but for me that was fine because I don't have a reaction to it. So they went in and they cleaned the area with iodine, and then they stuck the needle in, and as they were pulling out, they numbed the area or the path to the nodule that they were going to use. And when they did that, it burned really bad. Like it kind of felt like my boob was on fire, but it wasn't super unbearable. It was just really, really stingy, and it felt kind of hot, like almost like it was burning, but it wasn't necessarily painful. It was just very intense. And then they went in again to numb the area again just because they don't want you to feel anything. It didn't burn so much the second time as when they did it the first time. And then what they did was they made a small incision at the entry site on my breast, and then they took a big hollow needle, which all of this I'm saying that they did because they were telling me what they were doing, but I wasn't looking at anything. But they had a big hollow needle that they took because the mass in my breast was dense and it didn't have liquid in it. So if yours has liquid in it, they may use a different tool, but for me they used a hollow needle thing, and it was attached to this gun type of device, and it makes this really loud popping sound. And when she described it to me, she said it sounds like an ear piercing gun when they pierce your ears, which is a pretty accurate description of what it sounded like, but it is really loud and it's like pop, you know? So she pushed it in, and then once she got to the nodule, she pressed the trigger and it shoots into the nodule to take out a sample. And she took out one sample, and then they realized they needed another one. So they went back in, and while they go in, you can feel the pressure. Like you can feel what's going on, but you can't feel what's going on. And they do have the ultrasound up the whole time, so if you want to see what they're doing, you can. But I chose not to because I was too scared. But it is a lot of like they're, you know, pressing and like pushing, and it feels really weird. I wouldn't say it was painful because you don't feel pain, you just feel a lot of pressure, and it makes you feel like you're feeling pain because your brain is like, oh, there should be pain associated with this. So I think my brain was trying to make it painful, but it wasn't really painful. And so they took the second sample, and then after that they go back in with a little tool that puts what they call a clip in the mass, so that when you are getting a mammogram or something like that in the future, then people can see that clip and know that that was a mass that was checked out, whether it is cancerous so they can find it again, or if it isn't, then if you get your yearly mammograms done, then they know that that's a mass that they don't need to worry about, and it's just not something cancerous that, you know, they need to tell you about. So that's really helpful. I did feel like I was being like microchipped by the government or something, but it is really helpful to know that they put that in so that, you know, in future mammograms, if it isn't cancerous, then they know that it's not something new and something that they need to worry about. So they put the chip in, and then they go out and then they put steri strips over the incision site, and then they put a band-aid over it, and they tell you that you probably want to wear a sports bra, which if you are going to get this done, I do recommend having a sports bra. I don't have a sports bra. I actually went to Victoria's Secret after the appointment to get a sports bra, and I didn't end up getting one, but I do kind of wish I did because it does give you a lot more support than regular bras, and you really don't want your boob to be like shaking around because after the numbness wears off, it is really, really sore. The same day that they did it, they want you to take it easy. They don't let you lift heavy stuff. You can go back to work whenever you want, but they do ask that you don't lift heavy things for the rest of the day. They say that you can take showers, but you can't soak the incision site, so like you can't take baths or anything unless you're not going to soak that part of your body, which is understandable to keep away infections. They do say to shower with the steri strips on, but you can take off the band-aid and like redo the band-aid and stuff, but just let the steri strips just come off on their own. The first night, I have to say, was probably the hardest part because it's really hard to find a comfortable sleeping position because you don't realize how much your boob is like part of your sleeping habits. And I always sleep on my side, and you know, particularly my right side, and so it was really too painful to do that. So what I did is I propped up 2 pillows on either side of me, and then I had my main pillow behind me, so whenever I would be on a side, like I would just be kind of angled, and that kind of helped take the pressure off of your boob just like falling to the side. But if you don't have 2 pillows, you can always try using one of those neck pillows, like those really soft squishy neck pillows for traveling, because I did try using that. I didn't need it, but I realized that if someone didn't have 2 pillows, they might want to use that. It is very helpful. Or if you're like sleeping on your stomach, if you have like 2 travel pillows. The day after the procedure, I woke up and it really just felt like I had done a huge arm workout. I don't know why, but for some reason having that procedure done just made me feel like my arms feel super sore. And it actually, like, my boob doesn't really feel that sore, and it didn't feel that sore the day after the procedure, but it was just my arms. Like, my arms just felt super sore, and it was hard for me to carry stuff because of that. But if I really needed to, like, it was just like you had just worked out a lot with your arms. And other than that, that was my experience. I haven't gotten the test results back yet because they take about 48 to 72 hours to get the test results back, and I did it on Friday, and so we haven't quite gotten there yet to where they can give me the results. It is Sunday now. But I figured I would share this experience with you guys because I know that it would have been helpful for me to have someone talking about it before I got it done, just because it kind of eases your mind if you know what's going to happen. And it's also a really good reminder to just check your boobs. I know it sounds weird, and I know you probably don't think you need to, but even if you're young and you don't think you need to, it's always good to just get it checked out. If it's something that feels abnormal, if you don't usually feel a lump in there and there's a lump, even if you don't think it is anything, it might not be, but it might be something, and it's better to get it checked early, and it's so much easier to treat when it's caught early on than it is to get it checked later on when, you know, it's too late. So always get it checked out if you're worried, just to ease your mind, and be checking your boobs every month. I am going to be way more diligent about it now, because even if it's nothing, even if it's not cancerous, I do want to be on top of it, and it made me realize that things can change really fast, and if you're not on top of it and you recognize what it feels like for something to change, then how do you know it's something that you need to be worried about? So I hope this video helps you. If it did, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. And if you found this helpful, please share it with your friends to give them a reminder, or if you know someone who's getting a biopsy, let them see this video. Maybe it can help ease their mind on the procedure. I hope you guys are all having a great week, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!